Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I've got a really special dessert that was sent to me by David in Houston. It's called a Texas pound cake, and he said it had been in his family for many generations and it was really good. Would I please make it? So that's what we're going to make, a Texas pound cake. Now I already got started because some of this takes some time and I didn't want to prolong the video any longer than it had to be. I've already got 3 sticks of butter. You can use butter or margarine, he says, softened. 2.5 cups of sugar. And you have to beat that until it's soft, till it's fluffy. Light and fluffy. Well, I let it beat 2 or 3 minutes. And it looked fluffy, but it wasn't. So that all depends on you. It took this about 6 minutes to get fluffy. Then after that, now you remember now when you make a pound cake, everything has to be room temperature or your pound cake will come out with kind of shiny, thick spots in it. I don't really know how to describe it, but that's what it looks like. Everything has to be room temperature. So of course the butter was softened, the eggs were softened, left out to be room temperature, and I don't see anything else in here. Well, you can't use flour that's been in the refrigerator, or if milk. The milk has got to be room temperature. Trust me on this one. A pound cake, everything has to be room temperature. Alright, now I beat up the flour and the sugar. Goodness, the butter and the sugar. And then it calls for 6 eggs. Well, I already put 5 of them in. But the thing is that in between, every time you add an egg, you've got to beat for 2 minutes. 2 minutes in between. So I've already done 5 of them. And I'm about to put the last one in, but I don't think you need to watch that. So I'm going to put the last egg in and get it beaten up, and then we'll get on with the recipe. Alright, I got that last egg in there. It's beat 2 minutes. And the next thing that's going in is 3 cups of all-purpose flour, but the ingredient right after that is 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder. So I just sifted. You have to sift the flour, so I just sifted the cocoa powder as well. And you can only add it a cup at a time. So that's what we're about to do. And I got 3 cups of this, and I'll bring you back when we get it all incorporated. Alright, I finished with my eggs and my flour, and everything's in there except these last ingredients, and I wanted to tell you a little secret. It calls for a cup of milk, and I didn't have any milk. And you all may already know this, but this is evaporated milk, and if you mix a 1/2 cup of evaporated milk with a 1/2 cup of, in this case it'll be lukewarm water, you have milk. So I've got a cup of milk with 2 tablespoons of vanilla in it. 2 tablespoons. And I'm adding this to the mixture. Preheat your oven. I've meant to tell you every time, but I forget. Preheat your oven to 300 degrees. And grease and flour a tube pan. Now a tube pan is not a bundt pan. A tube pan looks like this. The sides are straight. Well, won't go back any further. Anyway, the sides are straight and it has the hole in the middle. A bundt pan, you know, has got all those designs in it. and that's what you don't want, I suppose. So as soon as I get through mixing this, it's going into that tube pan in a 300-degree oven, which is low, for an hour and 10 minutes. So you can start testing it after an hour, and if your tester comes out clean, when put in the middle, your cake is done. But you have to let it cool completely. So we'll be back when all that occurs, because there's more. Alright, we're back. My cake is done. It came out perfectly, but I have to tell you that mine took an hour and 30 minutes. Yours may not take that long. It may take a little longer, but at an hour and 10 minutes it was still liquid in the center. So 20 more minutes did the trick. Now we're going to make the icing for this cake. I'm going to show you what's in my pan here. And it is a cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of cocoa, which I sifted, a tablespoon of vanilla, a small can of evaporated milk. So what I did was, since I only used half of this can, trying to get the front of it here, I still had 5 ounces. That would be 5 ounces of evaporated milk and a stick of butter or margarine. Now I'm going to put this on the stove over medium heat, stir it constantly, and when it starts boiling, I'm going to start timing, because we're going to let it boil for 3 minutes, stirring constantly, and then we're going to spoon it over the cake, and we'll be back. Alright, you know, our cake cooled off, and I made the icing, letting it boil. Wait till it comes to a good boil, but, you know, stir it constantly. And now I'm going to spoon it over this completely cooled cake. And there's a lot of it, so I'm going to let it, excuse me, drip down the sides and just probably cover the whole top. David didn't say how his family did the icing. He just said spoon it over the top. So that's what we're doing. Just going to spoon it over. You have to be very careful with this, because it'll burn in a heartbeat. And if it burns, you've got to start over. You cannot have burnt chocolate. It's horrible. Ask me how I know. I know. It's not good. I'm kind of letting it drip down the side a little bit, because I think that looks pretty. Maybe in the middle too. Turn this around. Yeah, see, I missed part of this side. I mean, I've got all this icing, I may as well use it. Now, I don't know how long it takes this to harden, but I'm not sure it does, but I think it does because of the butter in there. Here's some more. Might as well get this whole top covered and sides. And I just don't think there's room for any more. I've got more icing left, but I'm not going to put it all on right now. I'm going to bring you back when it cools down a little bit, the icing, and see if it hardens any. Well, our cake the icing has thickened up some, and I'm sure the cooler it gets, the thicker it becomes. It probably comes more like a fudge icing. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it and give it a taste. Sam's not here to be my taster, so much as I hate to, I'm going to be the taster. And I don't hate to. Here's our cake. Wait a minute, let me get it on a plate because
technically the field is referred to as men and masculinities. I didn't think there was that much to know on the subject.
I've been known to drop stuff. Here it is. Isn't it beautiful? The recipe didn't call for nuts, but I had some chopped that I needed to use, so I used them. Alright, let's give this a little, move this out of the way so you can see me. Got a little bit of crust to it. It's very good, y'all. Thank you, David, for the recipe. Thank you for sharing it with me. And thank you all for coming in and spending a little part of your day with me. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Till next time, you take care.
Good for you, man. I don't think I could survive if I wasn't walking next to a coffee place or a pizza shop or just something.
Yeah, I get it. Thanks.
All right, so